Welcome back, viewers. Today we are going to be talking about the parts of a forceps and the principles of use of a forceps. In front of you right now are the maxillary anterior and the mandibular anterior forceps. Now, we are first going to be talking about the differences between the two and the parts of the forceps, which will then be followed with the actual application of the forceps itself. Now, let's start out with the maxillary anterior set of forceps. The maxillary anterior set of forceps is basically a forceps that is in line, where the beak is in line with the handle. Now, just to understand, this part up to the hinge is called the handle of the forceps. This is the hinge of the forceps, and these are the beaks of the forceps. And like I said, the beak of the maxillary anterior forceps is in line with the handle. Now, what I want you to concentrate upon is the beak itself. In the closed position, the beaks actually meet at the center. In the open position, you will see that the beak is made up of a concave part internally, which actually grips the root of the tooth, and a convex part externally. Now, the reason for this particular design is the fact that the beaks of a forceps are actually used to wedge between the alveolar bone and the root itself. As such, they help in extraction not only by the forces applied but even by the wedge principle, which, if you remember, is also a part of the principles of using an elevator. Now, talking a little more in detail about the concave surface, if you notice, there are some striations, horizontal and vertical striations. These striations help in better frictional grip of the forceps over the tooth root. Now, compare this forceps with your mandibular anterior forceps. If you notice, right outright, the forceps beak is at 90 degrees to the handle, and that, by the way, is one of the primary differences between the maxillary and the mandibular set of forceps. Now, the mandibular set of forceps again is designed almost in the same manner, with the concavity of the beaks having the serrations to help in better grip. One principal difference that you will notice, other than the fact that the beak is at 90 degrees, is that the beak is significantly thinner compared to the maxillary anterior forceps. Now, the reason for this is because in general, the mandibular anterior set of teeth are thinner or more slender in the mesiodistal direction, as well as the fact that the maxillary anterior set of forceps can also double up as a root piece forceps, or a forceps that is used to extract root pieces. Now, let's quickly go on to looking at how a forceps is applied. Now, towards the principle of a forceps, we have to first understand that a forceps is applied in such a manner that the beaks of the forceps end up wedging between the alveolar bone and the tooth root. Okay, so I'll just quickly show you with the finger rest. That is the finger rest, right? There's a separate video where we are going to talk in detail about the finger rests, but for now, understand that this is the finger rest, and you hold the maxillary forceps in the palm up position, and in this position the forceps is applied as such, and the grip is taken right onto the tooth root. Now, if you notice from the side, I will show you how I have taken grip onto the root of the tooth, and now I am gonna hold the forceps. Now, if you notice how the tooth moved as soon as I placed some force onto the actual tooth root, that is because of the wedge action between the alveolar bone and the tooth proper, and then with the apical force, the buccal, the lingual and the rotational force, the tooth will then easily be pulled out.